Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh everyone. Welcome to the second video of data structures, and today we'll be covering linear arrays. So we have a lot of methods to do, so let's skip the formalities and let's go straight to what we need to do. First, I would like to start by creating a method which will simply iterate through the loop. So what that means is, when I have an array, for example I have an array over here, I need to make a loop which will go from here to here to here to here until it ends over here. So a normal loop. Let's skip the public button right now. What will we do that for? With that, for, we'll use for. You can also use while. It doesn't matter actually, so I'll go with for. Take something. Since this is a linear array, we will start from index 0. We all know that array's index starts from 0. It will not start from 1. In array, index num 1 points you to the second array slot, or whatever you call it. And I want this to continue until I reach the length. So it will be the array length, which is actually, for example, think of this as an printing, and it will receive an array of let's replace the int with object. This will keep things easier. I should have chosen whole word. Anyways, it's no big deal. So we have an array, and we will print that array. For that, we will continue until it reaches the length. So for this one, it will be j.length, and finally the condition. Oh man, a very simple for loop to go through the array. And what is the thing I need to do? I need to print. So simply dot out print line. Suppose you add this, z plus, just making you comfortable, that it's not that you just have to write. You can make variations in your printing methods. Everybody will just go through j, z. Why not try some variations? So j is the array I have, and z is the counting number. This should do the trick, and my printing should happen. For some reasons my laptop is taking a lot of time to compile today, so until that happens, there is also another method which we can use to go through the loop. This method has a disadvantage, we will discuss that later, but it is called for each loop. So this for each loop, oh man, I forgot to remove this object. Okay, it will be int. So this will work now. And I also like to show you that thing called for each loop. It's the same thing, just all you have to do is write the array. For example, if it's an object, then object k, and it will take j. Same thing. You can just put the same thing over here. There you go, again the compiling time. So this will print all the elements of the array, which is a very simple thing, yet people face problems with it. So I wrote that. The next thing we will be doing is copying an array. So this thing about this, as you can see, this object X array I have over here, what they want me to do is I have to take another array, for example, suppose object Z or maybe object K or something, and then I'll have to return that array. I'll have to create a duplicate array. So how do I create a duplicate array? And before that, let's see what's the problem over here. J plus, okay, so J only exists for here, so I can't use J over here. It doesn't matter. And what's the second error? Oh, I forgot. You just have to write the name of the variable, so it will be K over here. K. Ah, come on. Okay. Should fix the error now. So if we want to copy the array, we will have to create a method that will receive an array and also return an array. So let's do this as soon as my lazy computer ends up compiling. Oh, finally it's done compiling. Good. Now before we do anything, let's create the linear class so we can use these things. New linear. It doesn't have any constructor, so it will be like this. And ln dot print r, and I'm gonna send x. It should do the trick. Look. And if I press run now, it should work. And it does work. You see? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the first loop I created, and this is the second loop. I can also change the second loop here though. I can add k plus, and it should print the same thing. And for separation, let's just do this. There you go. Should solve the trick now. Oh, I forgot to write. I wrote the value. Never mind. So, like this, you can print both of these arrays. You can use whichever way you want, but I prefer using this way because this works in one way, and you will understand. I will show you later why that way is not so efficient. So the next thing we'll be doing is resizing an array. So what's resizing an array? Resizing an array will actually be, if you have an array of this x which has what's the size of x? Can you tell me? It's 6. It has 6 values. It has 6 indexes, so the size is 6. So when I'm saying resizing an array, I'm saying that I will create the same x, but it will have a different size, and resizing suggests that it will have a bigger size. So x will have more spaces. That's the idea of resizing. So let's create a resizing method. We'll keep this for loop, will not remove that. So res r, just to do this. Now to resize, what's the first thing we need to do? Can you change the index number of the array? What I'm trying to say is, can you, when we create an array equal to new array some size, for example 10, can you change the size equal to 100 or something lower or something higher than the value? No. So the only way to resize is to create a new array. So we will first do that. And since the type is object, we will create an object array which will be k. Why am I picking k so much? Let's just put y. I haven't used that for a while. So new object, and let's say the new size, and you will be given a value that this should be the capacity. Let's assume that we'll be given that, so we'll have int new size. Oh come on, seriously, I'm lazy to write that. So int size, okay, and it will be equal to size. It could be bigger than the previous size, it could be smaller, but the name suggests that it will be bigger. Otherwise I'll have to remove elements. Either way the method will work. So we created the array and we now gave the array a new size, and now we have this length, and instead of printing, what will we do? We have the previous array, now we'll have to put those values in this array. So y j should have all values from j, and then we can print out this array to check if it's working. And one more thing, now we have created the new array, but we have to return this, right? So there won't be a void, it should return an array. So it will be object array type. So it will return the object. We did it in 111, right? Return methods. So it will return. What will it return? Y simply. So this will return the array we created, and we can use the method print array to check if it's working or not. So let's do that. For that to work, we'll have to resize it first. So then oops, sorry about that. Res r x again, and say the new size will be 10. And now we'll also use, I'm too lazy, so I'll use this. Now we'll have to see if this works or not. So to do that, simply run this, and it works like a charm. See, the first one is the first one and the second one. Now what's the proof that I was successfully able to resize it? Let's put y.length here. So the loop will continue until the 10th size index is reached, and those values will be null, and then it will be proven that it has been bigger now. See, index out of bounds. Oh, of course I can't change this because the length is limited. I have to change this one to prove it. Or let's just, okay, this is how it goes, and then I will have to remove this because this won't work. It will again show the same error. Now it doesn't have y. Oh man, that's a pain. Okay, to prove this, let's just try to input something in the array now. m.x, so we have 4 more indexes, so let's try to put something on 7. If it allows you to put something, then we are okay. So we'll try to put something here, and for example let's just try to put 20, and since we are returning that, we'll have to change x into the new array. If this works, it will be proven that I have successfully resized the array. So let's compile and give it a go. There you can see, I can see now, that means it's working. The new value was not shown because the print was done before the new value. So if I put this over here, cut, paste, and now if I run it, as you can see, 20. So I was able to resize the array. It's proved now. Okay, I shouldn't have used so much time for this. Anyways, it's worth a shot. So we can now print array, we can resize the array. Now what's next? We can also reverse, shift, insert. There are lots of things we need to do. So which one will we go with now? Let's go with reverse. So we'll create another method of reverse. We have print, we have resize, and now we'll create a reverse method. So go ahead and write public. You don't have to write string. Let's just keep it word for now. Rev array, revolution, rev array. Okay, of course we'll receive an array. So object, I'm running out of variables. So what will we do over here? If we want to reverse the array, we'll have to create a new array again. So let's do that first. Object, it will be kind of temporary, so let's just remain it temp. And new object, the typical way of creating arrays. Its size should be equal to I.length. So that's the primary work. Now we'll have to shift the elements from the array I to temp, but we'll do it reversely and then again put the elements of temp back to I, and it will be reversed so that no value is lost. How do we do that? Let's compile it first to check it. So far it's okay, good. So what we need to do is just change the arrays reversely. Now to do that, we will need some variables. First let's start with a variable that will start counting from 0, and one variable that will start counting from the last. Now let's use while loop here. While a is less than I dot length, what do we need to do? We need to make sure the values from the array I enter reversely in the value temp. So let's put temp, and it will start from A, and it will have the values from array I. However, it will have values from B. And to make sure this loop works, we'll have to increment A and decrement B. Is that fine? Yep, it is. Now we'll have to put these values of temp back to object I. I'm too lazy to do something, so let's just take a print. Let's take this. There will be I.length, and I will have the values from temp. That's good to go. This should work. Let's see if it compiles. We have an error over here. What kind of error is this? Okay, what's this doing here? So I have set up an order to reverse the array. Now this is my array: 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. If my method works, then it will print it in the reverse order. Let's see if it. And what's the way to check if it works? You run this. Let's see. I may or may not have errors. Look, there is an error. Index out of bounds. Come on, that's. Oh, look at over here. A silly mistake again. We cannot start from the last number because it's index. Should work fine now. And it does. Look, the array has been reversed. It has been reversed, and the print is occurring 600, 500, 400, 300, 200 and 100. That means my method is working fine. So now what? We have done reversing the array, we are done with resizing, we are done with printing, and now we'll do some shifting. About shifting, you will do in 220. Shifting can be done on left and shifting can be done on right. So when I'm saying shifting, I'm telling you to do some changes from the left. So if you shift left by one value, this 100 will be the last value and 200 will be the first value, and so on. So 300 will be the second value, 400, just like this. Again, if you shift it right, then 600 will become the first value, 100 will become the second, and so on. So how do we do this shifting? Let's start shifting the array. We have completed 3 major methods. We have done reversing, resizing, printing, and now we'll do shifting, and we'll do the shifting. Let's start with left shifting. So public, I don't have to return anything, so void shift R. Now I'll have to shift left, so shift L R. I need to receive an array to do this, and let's keep it to I so that I can copy the codes from the above methods above. So to do this, we don't have to create anything. Let's just start with a for loop. It should start from, let's say we want to shift it by 1, so let's keep it 1. I greater than a dot length, or in this case I length, and I will be incrementing all the time. What the? So there we have it. Now what's the idea? If we want to shift all values by 1, then we will just have to put all values 1 index ahead. So oh no, they'll catch me for this. J, and J again. So J should have the index -1, since I'm trying to shift one value, and put the value at 1 at 0. So J I. Try to understand what's happening over here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to put I minus 1, which is, oops, what the, I minus 1 I don't know what I'm doing actually. J minus 1, so J is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0. So I'm trying to put the value of first index in the index non-zero. So in I0 I'm trying to put I1. Since I want to shift it left, I am subtracting 1. I'm starting from the first, from index 0. If I had to shift on right, then I would do the reverse. I would start from the last index. So now that I'm done with shifting, this loop will continue and it will be shifting all values. Now there is a slight little problem. When all values will be done, let me take you back to the array. So here suppose 100 is gone, so now it's 200. It's kinda like this. Okay, this is fine, but there is an extra 600. Why? Because the last value was shifted but it was not changed. It's still 600. When the loop, try to understand this, this is very important. When the loop will reach, the J value of J will reach 6 or 5, whatever, then the fifth index cannot be changed because I have put that j cannot continue when it will be equal to I dot length. So when it will be 5, it will not be changed. So the 600 will remain, and I have also lost 100. So there is one little thing I have to do. When the loop is done, I'll have to change the value of the last index, which will be the last index. So of course I dot length minus 1, and I'll put the value, the first value, or I can also put null there, so that I am removing the value of 100. This should print so if I shift one value, then 100 will be gone and there will be a null in the end. So let's see if it works. So we compile, let's see if there's an error. There is. How can there not be? I'm kinda used to getting this yellow thing. Okay, it's done now. Now all I have to do is run this. So I'll put in Shift L over here, and let's see. Yes, it's working fine. 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, and there's a null because I shifted one value. Now what if you're given a value that this is the amount of how index you have to shift? For example, int I, and here I will send the value of 3, but you need to shift 3 values. What then? Nothing changes except a few things. J will be equal to I. Oh, why am I using so many I's? Let's use T this time. It will be T, and J minus T, which will obviously be 0 because no matter what J is, that will be T. And if I minus J, so if I do J minus J, it will be 0 anyway. So, and now for this we'll have to run a loop because it's not one value. A loop which will start from, let's say, no more I's. Let's start with O. I dot length minus T plus 1. Until O reaches I dot length, and O must be incremented. So till this happens, please be kind enough to replace all those values with null. Otherwise the values will remain. So it will be something like 400, 500, 600, 400, 500, 600. I don't want that. That's not shifting. So I have to compile this, and of course there will be an error anyway. Now let's so this should work. Slight error can oh good, this is not necessary. See, it's working fine. 400, 500, 600, null. So if you're given a value like T, then you can just do this and it will work. So no matter what T is, it doesn't matter. The method will do that automatically. So we have done shifting left. We also have to do shifting right, which is kinda similar, so I think you'll be able to do it yourself. And now we'll be moving to insert and remove. But for this video, this is enough. So see you in the next video. In the next video we'll be doing rotating, inserting and removing from a certain index. And in this video we have covered printing, reversing, resizing and shifting. Shift right is the same thing. All you have to do is, instead of starting from the first index, we'll have to start from the last index. So that's the only difference, otherwise it's all the same. See you until the next. But if you still have problems regarding shifting right or something, please comment in the section below and I'll try to help. Thank you.